Much of what base jumpers do in Australia is breaking the law. On this night, a small group has managed to sneak into a service elevator which takes them to the roof of a city skyscraper. It's dangerous and sometimes deadly, but these base jumpers believe that this should be made legal. Their radical proposition is that base jumping will be safer if it's no longer an underground sport.
It's going to become safer because we don't have to creep around in the backcountry and hide from the authorities and this and that. So we can go and jump, and if we get hurt, we can call up the authorities and say, listen, we've got a bit of a problem, can you come and give us a hand?
Right now, the chances of getting hurt or worse are high. In nearly 25 years, 87 base jumpers have died worldwide. Many of them were experienced jumpers with good safety records.
I've obviously been around when people have died. Yeah, it's sad and it's a worrying thing, but you always try to rationalise any sort of accident or incident that occurs and put it down to various decisions that person has made.
He was very skilled and very knowledgeable. He'd done over 800 jumps and had jumped in countries all over the world. He taught me a lot of what I know, especially about the more advanced and difficult jumps.
So peaceful. Livia Dickey is one of Australia's few women base jumpers.
A commercial off this cliff.
Last October, Livia and her boyfriend Jason Fitzherbert were headed to Sydney for the funeral of a friend who had died base jumping. On their way, they stopped at a gorge that Jason had always wanted to jump from. But it all went wrong, and Livia watched as Jason slammed into a cliff. He died instantly. When did you realise that it had gone wrong?
The moment that things went wrong was very distinct. It was very clear-cut. There was no question to it. So, yeah.
Within days, Livia was herself back jumping. Most people would say enough's enough after seeing your partner die in a base jump.
At the same time, having seen him do that last jump and then go do a jump myself, I felt helped bring me closer to him, and whenever I jump, I just feel Jason there watching over me.
What impact do you think the underground nature of base jumping has on the athlete, if you like?
It's like people in the criminal world. They take higher risks than you would in business. Because it's underground, I by definition can take higher risks. So the more that it's not open to general scrutiny, the more I start thinking I might have to take some shortcuts, and that's the temptation they've got to be very, very careful of. Because in this case, a shortcut could be death.
Dr. Phil Jauncey is a sports psychologist.
See ya.
He says it's the danger of base jumping that attracts most people, and by overcoming their fears, they feel better about themselves.
I think many of them, they're saying, I need to get the endorphins firing. I need to give that rush to make life worthwhile. Now, it's impossible to get in people's mindsets and know exactly what they're thinking, because I've heard and talked to some that in fact it is a sport for them. But those who I've talked to and have read about over the years, it seems to be because I can do something so bizarre that others would never do it, that must make me a better person, and that worries me.
You really think that's their end game, to make them feel better about themselves?
Again, some do. For some people, it's saying that I need to risk everything to make me significant.
If base jumping is all about seeking attention, no one is better at it than Miles Dasher. There's probably no man who has taken greater risks than him. And in Miles, there's no better person to take us inside the mind of a base jumper. Can you equate the feeling to anything that I may have experienced in my life?
Being born! Yeah, when you were born it felt just like that! Woo!
Miles is one of only 20 people in the world who base jumps with skis. This is it.
Yeah, it's nice and huge.
And today he's brought us to Alaska's Sugar Ranges, where he's about to attempt a jump that's never been tried before.
Almost everything I've done in my life has directed me and guided me to get to this place, and where I am now is just a culmination of what I've been dreaming of and aspiring to do my whole life.
You won't need speed.
Speed is your friend, Jimbo.
"15 seconds! Yeah, Jimbo!
Birthday.
Yeah, thanks, man.
That looks
fantastic. Yeah, thanks, Peter. That felt so good. Woo!
That's all I could hear when you went off the edge. I could hear you hollering.
Feels so good, you know. It opened up beautifully, and I couldn't be happier with that, you know. First base jump in the Chugach. That's my 700th base jump on my 36th birthday, and like, woo!
Ready, set, go.
Most of us have no desire to experience that first astonishing step into thin air. But that unique group who do will continue to push boundaries and risk everything for those few fleeting moments. The closest thing to flight.
I would love to be the greatest base jumper of all time, and by so doing that, you can't die base jumping. You gotta stick every jump, you know? And I'd like to just die in my sleep one night dreaming about base jumping. That's the way I want to go.
I do understand that a vast proportion of the population really see it as possibly crazy and possibly pointless, but yeah, I hope to change people's minds a little bit.
That really was not cool. Oh!